These are the books that I have left on my TBR for this month. I'm just so confused. I'm struggling so much with this. Every month I set myself a TBR and every month I fail to complete it. But this month is going to be different. These are the books that I have left on my TBR for this month. I have about a week to read these and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books here. So it's going to be a little bit of a struggle. I'm also going away to Edinburgh at the weekend because Ollie is running a marathon, so I'm not sure how much time I'm going to have for reading while I'm there. So this is going to be a bit of a struggle, but we're just going to have to plan this out properly and do our best to get through it. Ruthless Vows I'm actually listening to on audio. If you've watched any of my other reading vlogs from this month, you will know I am struggling my way through this. That hasn't changed. We still slog along with this one on audio, so that's just kind of going to be ongoing throughout this week, and I'll probably just update you when I finish it with my thoughts and feelings, because to be honest right now I don't have anything good to say about this book. And then these 4 books I have not yet started, so I need to pick one to start today and we need to try and fly through these. I'm just so confused. Okay, right, where do I start? Firstly, and I think most importantly, can we just appreciate how floppy this book is? Like, it's literally staying open. I've literally been reading this, loving my life, because it's so floppy. Like, it doesn't look like it would be floppy, and it's a Penguin book, which I don't think they're normally floppy. But this is so nice and floppy and it's just been making me so happy, so just had to start off by saying that. I am about 200 pages into this book now and I'm not gonna lie, I am very confused. I've been very confused the whole time. It's difficult because we are following our main character who doesn't really understand what's going on, so we also don't really understand what's going on. There's also been quite a lot of like info dumping, world building at the moment. I feel like we're kind of now getting more into the main plot. I feel like it's about to start. But yes, so far there's just been a lot to take in and I am confused. However, I am going to try and give you a short summary of what I think the plot of this book is. Our main character is called Ramira and she is like in the normal world, like our world. She lives in New York City and she basically works as a thief for like a crime boss in New York. One day a weird woman comes and basically takes her from this job and says that she has something that she needs her to do. Doesn't really tell Ramira much about it. It's all very cryptic, but Ramira is kind of just going along with it. Basically, she wakes up in this new world where there are elves and where there is elemental magic, and she basically is mistaken to be somebody called Princess Ramira. And basically, Princess Ramira, who everybody thinks our Ramira is, had just killed the king and queen of one of the lands in this world, who also happened to be the parents of her fiance. So the prince that she was supposed to be marrying, she kills their parents, or she's believed to have killed their parents. And so the prince that she was engaged to is now the king and he hates her, and obviously like they want to kill her, like they're not happy with her, and they take her prisoner and she kind of tells them, no, I don't know anything about this, don't know what you're talking about, that's not me. And that's the start of this book. There have been some quite funny moments where she starts to realise that she's not in the normal world and they find things that she's saying very strange, she finds things that they're saying very strange, and there's like a little bit of fun miscommunication, which I've been enjoying. But yeah, as I said, we haven't really got into the main plot yet. As I said, it's been about 200 pages of just setting the scene and world building. There's a lot of characters to get your head around, there's a lot of names of things and places that are a bit confusing. So that is like one thing that I'm not loving about this book. I like to read a fantasy where it feels like you just absorb the information slowly, like as you need it. And I think in this one it's a little bit like brain fart, like here is all of the information, remember that. And I'm like, girl, I literally can't remember what day it is. Like, how am I supposed to remember all of this information. I'm working through it and I'm hoping that it's going to get good now. I can't really share my thoughts on this book yet so far because, as I said, nothing has really happened. If I had to share my thoughts, I'd say the first 200 pages are a bit slow. I'm liking the romance vibe that we're getting. It's very much, you know, giving an enemies to lovers romance, and yeah, I'm enjoying that part of it. I'm just not really sure where the plot is going and what's going to be happening, but we will see. Also, I feel like I thought this book was like a pure romantasy, so like very strong romance, but as I said, we've got 200 pages in and it's just a lot of world building at the moment and not very much romance at all, so we will see how that goes. I'll keep you updated. I kind of just need to sit and smash this book out. Sorry about this background noise, by the way. I've not said, but it's absolutely pissing it down outside at the moment, so yeah, you can hear rain. Can't do anything about that. I'm very sorry. It is Wednesday today and we are going to Edinburgh on Friday morning. Our flight is at like 7 AM or something, so I want to finish this before then so I can take a different book with me to Edinburgh. I'm gonna go. Bye. There was just a bit of a plot reveal, literally like just after I last spoke to you, and it was done so well. I'm now really excited to keep reading, and I just needed to jump on and tell you that because, you know, when it's so good that you like put the book down and you're just like, okay.
My way with a compass and a map I made, looking for my shadow in the dark. What happens if I look for you with a compass and my tennis shoes and find you holding someone else's heart? Sleeping on your bedroom floor, I'll let my feelings wash ashore. You told me I'm projecting and I don't move with much direction anymore. I don't know what I'm looking for.
Oh my gosh, hi. Feels like I have not spoke to you in ages. In fact, I have not spoke to you in ages. I definitely filmed some clips in Edinburgh. I think I've said in this video already, but yeah, we went to Edinburgh over the weekend. We were going there because Ollie was supposed to be running the marathon. However, we both got really bad colds when we were there, basically, and he couldn't do the marathon in the end. And yeah, we both felt like absolute shit. Spent half the time in bed in the hotel. So that was great, but we are back home now, and today is like the first day that I feel like I could talk to you. Like I just really not felt good at all. If I don't sound great, don't look great, that's why. But I realised I have so many book updates to give you. Like it feels like this video is just like flown by because I just haven't been well enough to film. So let's update you. So I think I showed that I finished A Fate of Wrath and Flame, but I don't think I spoke about it. I did really enjoy this, although I do think it was a little bit slow. I'm excited to see where the next book takes us. I'm very much a big fan of the romance, of the characters. There are some things that like are a bit confusing in this book and definitely took me a while to get my head around, and I'm still not 100% sure if I've got it straight. Like things are a bit confusing, but it's very different to other fantasies in terms of the like world that we're following. It's not about fae, it's not about vampires. So yeah, I enjoyed this. I can't remember what I rated it. Let me have a look. I'm really sorry, I really should have like noted down more thoughts. I just didn't expect that it was going to be so long before I told you my thoughts on it. But yeah, overall I am giving this one 3.75 stars. It's not quite a 4-star. I did have a good time reading it, but it was a little slow moving and in some parts very descriptive, and too much kind of world building as well, I would say, in this book. Is very much like setting the scene starting the series, I felt anyway. But yeah, I'm excited to read the next book and see what happens. As I said, I do like the romance, so that's good. And next then, while I was in Edinburgh, I read Alone with You in the Ether by Olivia Blake. I really didn't know what to expect reading this. I feel like I don't know why, maybe I heard somebody say this, but I was expecting something similar to Normal People. In some ways it is a little bit similar to Normal People, but in other ways it's not at all. Firstly, the writing really confused me. Like, I could not tell what was going on, because you've got, through most of it, the conversations are like with speech marks, but then there are some bits where there's no speech marks. So I kind of thought it wasn't a conversation and it was just in our female main character's head, because she actually suffers with mania and other mental illnesses. So I kind of thought that it was in her head. Turns out it wasn't. I was very confused because like it was a very big point, like it was a very important part of this book that I just completely like missed because I didn't know what was happening. I don't know. I can see why people would like this. I do think the writing was quite beautiful, but it just also wasn't for me. I didn't like either of the main characters, and I think if you don't like the main characters, then you're just not going to care about their romance and their lives. And like, it wasn't even that I just didn't care about the main characters, I actively disliked them, especially her. So yeah, I was very disappointed with this one. It was quite quick and easy to get through, but it just felt like a pointless book when I read it. And I know that lots of people love this book, and I think that it just wasn't for me, and that's fine. I'm not saying that this is a bad book, I'm just saying I didn't personally get much out of it. And my rating for this one is 2.5 stars. Now we are caught up to where I am now, which is 100 pages into The Bodyguard. I started this yesterday and I am really enjoying it. I think because I'm like not feeling great, it's definitely taking me a little bit longer to read anything. When I'm ill, I just want to like rot and watch TV, but I think this is the perfect book to be reading because it doesn't really require much brain power and I'm loving it. So in this one we just have like a single POV from our female main character, Hannah, and she basically works as an executive protection officer or bodyguard for a company, and is hired by our male main character, Jack, who is a famous movie star, to basically provide him with some security. I find Hannah's voice in this book amazing. Like, I really like her. She's like funny and entertaining. The way that it's written in terms of like just her thoughts, I just love, I'm really connecting with. I also like the dialogue between her and Jack. I just think there's like lots of good banter. It's just such a good, so far, light-hearted, fun book, and it's exactly what I feel like I needed at the moment. It's not at all what I was expecting it to be like, because I have read one other Catherine Center book, which is Things We Save in the Fire, and that was definitely not a rom-com. It was just a kind of like fiction book. There was some romance in it, but it definitely wasn't like the main point. Oh my god, sorry, I sound awful. There was some romance in it, but it definitely wasn't the main point to the book. It was a fiction book with a little bit of romance in, and it was quite deep. So far, although this one we are touching on some quite deep topics, it's kind of reading like a bit of a rom-com. So I don't know if that's going to change, but yeah, I'm just having a really good time with it. So watch this space, because right now this could be a very highly rated book. I'm hoping that I can get this finished today, and then we can move on to our last book. I say last book, I'm still listening to Ruthless Vows, but anyway, that's my progress. We have finished 2 books of the 5 and we are partway through the 3rd. Hello, it is now hours later. In fact, it is 6 p.m. and I have finished The Bodyguard, guys. As I said earlier, I wasn't in like a massive reading mood because I'm just tired. I'm not feeling great. But this was a good book to be reading because it was so easy, it was so fun. As I said earlier, I think like none of my thoughts have changed. Everything I said about this book in the last clip remains true. Those are my thoughts on this book. I enjoyed it the whole way through. It was like the perfect length. I liked the pacing. I liked the pacing of the romance in particular. Yeah, I don't know. I just really liked it. I loved all of the dialogue. I liked the characters. Really good book. I think overall I'm going to rate it 4.5 stars. 4 stars feels too low, but it didn't give me a 5-star feeling. I don't know why, it just didn't give me the feeling, but I did love it. So 4.5 stars for The Bodyguard. We love that. Okay, next book that we need to read is A Tempest of Tea. I don't really know anything about the plot of this book. Like, I literally don't know if I've ever read the blurb. Sorry, I need to take that dust jacket right off. Is there even... Normally there's a blurb like here, but there's no writing. So how am I going to find out what this is about? Maybe it tells me here. Okay, so it says, set in a rich reimagining of 1920s London, our main character and her fellow misfits navigate their way through a tangled web of heists and conspiracies in a dark vampire underworld. Get ready for an enemies to lovers romance, secret vampire societies, and of course tea. Okay, so it's 1920s London, vampire underworld, enemies to lovers romance. Okay, and tea apparently. Okay, I'm looking forward to starting this one. I'm a bit scared because I feel like I've not heard anything about this. I heard lots of people talking about it like before it was released, that it was like an anticipated book for them. But I don't think I've seen anybody actually read it yet or give their thoughts on it. So I have no idea what the consensus is. Sorry, there's like something stuck to the page. I don't know if you can see, and it's really annoying me and I can't get it off. Wait, is it something stuck or is that like literally... No, it's definitely something stuck. Anyway, to be honest, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to finish this book in time, like by the end of the month, because it's a fantasy, it's a new world. Ah! Oh. Oh my god, I think I just broke my knee. Did you hear that? I don't know if that would have picked up, but I'm not as flexible as I think I am, clearly, because I literally can't even move my leg without breaking it. So as I was saying, I am a little bit nervous about this one. I'm nervous about how long it's going to take me to read it. I'm nervous about getting into it. I don't know about anyone else, but I always have a big like fear starting a new fantasy book, and especially when it's a new author. I just like have a fear that I'm like not going to understand anything. It feels like a big commitment and it's just a bit scary, which is silly because it's like, it's just a book. It's not that deep. It doesn't matter. If you don't like it, then you don't like it. If you can't follow it, then you can't follow it. Hopefully the next time I talk to you as well, like I will not be ill anymore. Let's just hope that I wake up tomorrow morning feeling fresh and like a new woman, because that would be really nice. Guys, I'm still sick. So this is as good as it's getting today. I feel like I've said that all vlog, so I'm sorry if I've looked a mess the whole time, but I thought I need to give you an update. So let's find somewhere to sit. Hang on. Trying to make sure you can't see Ollie in the background, who is also sick and currently eating some Dairy Lee Dunkers, which is a bit random. Anyway, need to update on the books. Ruthless Vows. How far am I into it? Oh, the dust jacket's actually upside down, but I can't be bothered to turn it around right now. Guys, I am about 280 pages into this book, but I think I'm going to DNF it. I'm struggling so much with this. I'm having to force myself to read it. When I say read it, I've been listening to it on audio for quite a while. I think like I've read the first 40 pages, then switched to audio because I just like wasn't vibing with it. Also not vibing with it on audio. And at this point, it feels like I'm just wasting my Spotify like audiobook hours listening to this book because I am getting absolutely no enjoyment out of it. Like I just don't like it at all. I wouldn't have stuck it out this long if it wasn't the second book to Divine Rivals, but at this point I just don't like this book. There's no way I'm gonna like it. I just don't want to do it to myself. Don't want to waste my Spotify hours. I'm DNFing this. It's a shame because I loved Divine Rivals so much, but this just wasn't it. Now 100 pages into A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faizal. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little bit of a struggle when I'm not feeling great. Like I feel like my brain is struggling to compute certain things in this book, and I'm just hoping that they're not that important and that I'll just get it like as we carry on. But we are basically 100 pages in now, and I think we have met basically who the main characters are, because they are basically forming a team to do a kind of heist. To take it back, we have Arfi. Her and Jin have a very much sibling dynamic, and they basically own and run a tea shop together, but it's like a tea shop in the day turned into a blood house at night. Is that what they call it? A blood house? Something like that. Because basically in this world we are set in 1920s London and there is vampires. So they basically run this business where vampires can go to drink blood. However, their business is at risk at being shut down because of the like guard in this place has been like out to get them and shut down their business because I think what they're doing is illegal. And anyway, they've basically ended up teaming up with a guy and a few other people to complete this heist. That like doesn't really make much sense, but I can't really describe it any better than that because I'm still struggling to get my head around everything. As I said, like not everything is fully computing, it's a little bit complex. This is just a YA book, by the way, so it isn't actually that complex. It's probably just me struggling to like understand who all these different people are, because we've got quite a few different names and places, and I don't know guys, it's going a bit over my head. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm not loving it. I think, as I said, like that's just because it's kind of been hard for me to follow, but I'm liking some of the romance vibes that we're getting. I think there's maybe like a couple of romances in this book following different characters, and I'm intrigued in them. And also we get a few, I think so we're just so far getting 3 different character POVs as well. But yeah, it's interesting. We'll see how I go. I really need to get this finished because tomorrow is the last day of the month and I need to finish it before then, but also ideally, like, I would at least finish it tomorrow morning if I'm going to, because I want this video to go up tomorrow because I'm away over the weekend. Have I shown you the character art here as well? And yeah, that's been a like fun part of this book, because as people have been described, I'll like look back at the pictures and be like, okay, that's who that is. Yeah, that's been fun, looking at the character art to kind of like help me imagine them. As I said, I'm gonna get reading, hopefully get this finished, and then we can call this video a day and we can say that I maybe have hopefully kind of completed my TBR. Oh my god, let's just ignore my hair. I have not done it. I need to wash it later this evening, so it is what it is. Sorry about that. I have now finished A Tempest of Tea, so I'm ready to share my thoughts. I actually ended up doing a lot of listening to this book on audio. I knew that I was on a tight deadline to get this book finished so that I could get this video up before I go away for the weekend. So I decided to start listening to it while I was doing other things. And to be honest, I was just enjoying listening to it so much. I don't know, it kind of felt cozy. And I was listening to it while I was reading it. And I've actually not done that since like school, when like people would be reading aloud and you would be like reading along. But it was just so fun. It was such a great time. It like really made me like more focused on the book. So definitely recommend doing that if you haven't tried it already. I'm sure most people have, and I am late to the party. I'm really struggling with my thoughts on this book. I didn't love it, but I did like it. I think that in general, heist books are just not for me. I'm not a big heist gal. Like, if it's gonna be a fantasy and there's gonna be some action, like I want war. I don't want heists. So it probably just wasn't really for me. I've never read Six of Crows. I know lots of people love that book, and maybe if you like that, because I know that that's kind of like heist as well, you would like this. It's kind of similar in terms of, from what I understand about Six of Crows. I mean, I'm saying this as if I don't know what Six of Crows is. Like, I have watched the Shadow and Bone TV show, so I have a good idea of Six of Crows, but where we kind of have a group of misfits working together on a heist, and they're all very different, and there's tensions between the group with some people not liking each other. So yeah, I don't know, it was kind of fun, but it wasn't really for me. I also feel like that heist element, it feels very YA. I don't know why, but it just felt very YA. I think overall I'm going to give this book 3 stars. I'm not sure, I assume there's going to be another book from like what happens at the end of this book. I assume there's going to be a second book. I'm not sure if I'll read it or not. I think I'll probably just wait to see what people think of it and then decide whether I want to read it or not. So that brings us to the end of my TBR. So let's just quickly round up the books that we've read for this video and round up the week of reading. So the first book that we started off this video with was A Fate of Wrath and Fame by K.A. Tucker. I ended up rating this one 3.75 stars. I don't know if that's a bit harsh and maybe it should be 4 stars. I'm a bit torn. because I do think, as I said when I was reading this, there were some parts about it that I just think were kind of slow and dragged, and it took me a while to get my head around the world when I don't think that it needed to be that complex. Like, it was just made quite complex. But I do think that's because it was told from the point of view of our main character, who didn't have a clue what was going on. So that kind of meant that we also didn't really have a clue what was going on. Something I thought about since reading this book is, at the start of the book, you also get some chapters in another character's perspective, but those kind of just like stop and you don't get anything more from them. So I'm not really sure, did I miss something? Did something happen to that character that I don't remember? I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the romance, and I will definitely be continuing on with this series. So for now, I'm giving it 3.75 stars. Maybe it could be a 4 stars. I'm just going to see like how much I keep thinking about it, and then by the time I film my wrap up, hopefully I will have a solid rating. We then read Alone With You in the Ether, and as I said, this book just wasn't for me. I can appreciate that the writing was really good, it was beautiful, and it was interesting, kind of, but it wasn't really that interesting because not much happened, and I didn't like the characters. And in terms of the romance, I didn't like the romance. It just wasn't really for me, but I can understand why certain people would really like this. So if you're interested in this book, and maybe you've read other Olivia Blake books, this is my first book by her, and you're interested in reading this one, then just know that, like, don't read it for the romance, in my opinion. I wouldn't read it thinking of, I want to have like a good emotional romance. I'm not sure that you're supposed to like the romance. I'm not sure that you're supposed to like the characters. 2.5 stars. This one just wasn't really for me, but as I said, I could see why other people would like it, but it just personally wasn't for me. So I hope that doesn't offend anyone if this is like your favourite book. It just personally wasn't for me. We then moved on to what I would say was the highlight of this reading week, and that was The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. I gave this 4.5 stars. This was just a perfect rom-com. I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad that I finally picked it up and read it. It was really quick, easy to read, it was fun, and yeah, I gave it 4.5 stars. I don't know why it wasn't a 5 stars, I just wasn't getting the 5-star feeling, and that may be because I was ill when I was reading it, so I was kind of hating my life. But yeah, it just wasn't quite a 5 stars, but I did really enjoy it, completely recommend it. I then, of course, sadly decided to DNF Ruthless Vows, and I'm glad that I made that decision because I have not for one moment regretted my decision of DNFing it. I've not thought about it, well, other than thinking how disappointing it was. And I just think if you're not enjoying a book, don't force yourself to read it, because if you're like me, there are so many books that you want to read. Like, I'm just looking at my TBR cart. There are so many books I really want to read, and if you're not enjoying one, just don't force yourself to read it, because in a worst case, like, you will put yourself into a reading slump, and in best case, you're just wasting your time, when there's so many other books out there that we're never going to have the time to read all of the books we want to. So yeah, I decided to DNF it. And then obviously the final book that we've just spoken about was A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faizal. As I said, this was kind of middle of the road for me. I liked it, I didn't love it, giving it 3 stars. I will see kind of what the consensus is on the next book in the series. If there is going to be a next book, please let me know if you know. And yeah, it was okay. I'm glad that I read it. I'm glad that I have this beautiful edition to put on my shelves, and yeah. So there we have it. I kind of completed my TBR. Obviously I DNF'd a book, so I don't know if that counts, but I'm going to count it as completing my TBR, which I'm pretty proud of, because normally, like, it's quite tough for me to read 3 books in a week normally when I'm doing like reading vlogs. Like, I have to put a lot of time into reading, and this week I managed, well, 4, let's just not count Ruthless Vows, but I managed to read 4 books in a week where I was pretty busy as well, away and ill, and yeah. So there we go. I can officially say that I have now finished one of my monthly TBRs. Hopefully I can make this a pattern and keep finishing my TBRs, but we will see. I hope that you have enjoyed this vlog. Please don't forget to leave a comment down below and give this video a like, and also subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to see you in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!